The spaceship landed softly on the purple soil of planet Silara. Captain Minho Kim stepped out first, breathing in the sweet air that smelled like cinnamon. This was his fifth first contact mission, but Silara was special. The aliens here had reached out to Earth, something that rarely happened. "Remember," Minho said to his team, "we are guests. Be polite." His team of 5 humans nodded. They all wore simple blue uniforms with the Earth symbol on their shoulders. No weapons were visible, but each person carried a small stun device hidden in their boots, just in case. A group of tall, thin aliens waited for them. The Xilarans had skin that shimmered like fish scales. Their 4 eyes blinked at different times, which made Minho feel dizzy if he stared too long. "Welcome to Xilara," said the tallest alien. "I am Ambassador Taeyun. We are glad Earth answered our call." Minho bowed slightly. "Thank you for inviting us. I am Captain Minho Kim of the Earth Diplomatic Corps." The aliens led them to a round building made of something that looked like glass, but felt warm like skin. Inside, a council of 12 Xilarans sat in a circle. "Please, sit," Ambassador Taeyun said. "We have much to discuss." Minho and his team sat on the cushions provided. The head of the council, an elderly Xilaran with pale blue scales, leaned forward. "We called you here because we need help," the elder said. "For 50 years, a monster has been killing our people. It attacks our farms, destroys our machines, and no one who faces it survives." Minho nodded. "What kind of monster?" The elder touched a panel, and a large screen appeared in the air. On it, a blurry video showed a massive creature with 6 limbs. It had black armored scales and a head that reminded Minho of an earth crocodile, but with more teeth. The creature in the video grabbed a Xilaran machine and crushed it like paper. "It spits acid," Ambassador Taeyun said. "It can run faster than our fastest vehicles. It has killed 322 of our people. Have you tried capturing it?" asked Jinwoo, Minho's science officer. The aliens made a sound like water boiling. Their version of laughter. "Capture it," Ambassador Taeyun said. "No one gets close to it and lives. Our strongest warriors have tried to kill it." None returned. Minho watched the video again. The creature moved with purpose, not rage. It seemed to be protecting something in the video, not just attacking randomly. "We would like to investigate," Minho said, before deciding on any action. The aliens looked at each other in surprise. "Investigate?" the elder asked. "What is there to investigate? It is a monster. It kills. It must be destroyed." On Earth, Minho explained carefully, "We have learned that even the most dangerous creatures have reasons for their behavior. We should understand before we act." Ambassador Taeyun stood up suddenly. His scales turned a dark purple color. "You are too soft," he said. "We thought humans were known as great hunters and warriors. The stories we heard about Earth made us think you could help, but you want to study the monster instead of killing it." Minho remained calm. "We will help you, but in our way. I would like to call our expert on animal behavior. Then we will decide what to do." The elder nodded slowly. "Very well. But people are dying. We do not have much time." As Minho sent the message to Earth requesting Dr. Ju Park, he watched the video of the creature again. In its movements, he saw intelligence, not mindless violence. This would not be a simple mission after all. That night, in his temporary quarters, Minho reviewed all the data that Xilarans had shared. The attacks had increased in the last year. They always happened near the new mining sites. The creature never attacked the same place twice. It was almost as if it was sending a message. His computer beeped. A message from Earth. Dr. Ju Park would arrive in 3 days. "Good," Minho whispered to himself. "If anyone can understand this creature, it's Ju." Outside his window, the 3 moons of Silara cast a silver light on the strange landscape. Somewhere out there, The creature that the Xylarans feared so much was moving through the night. Minho wondered what it was thinking, and he wondered if humans were making a mistake by getting involved in this alien conflict. 3 days later, a small ship landed at the Xylaran spaceport. Captain Minho Kim waited at the landing pad, ignoring the stares of the aliens around him. Word had spread that Earth was sending help, and many Xylarans had come to see this human who could supposedly stop the monster. The ship door opened with a gentle hiss. Out stepped a small woman with short black hair. She wore simple clothes, brown pants, a green jacket, and sturdy boots. A bag hung over her shoulder. "Dr. Juwoo Park," Minho said, smiling. "Thank you for coming so quickly." Juwoo nodded. "I started studying the data you sent as soon as I got your message. This creature is very interesting." A group of Xylaran officials approached them. Ambassador Taeyun looked at Juwoo, with all 4 of his eyes blinking at once, a sign of disbelief. "This is your monster hunter?" he asked Minho. "She is so small." Juwoo smiled. "I do not hunt monsters, Ambassador. I study them." The ambassador's scales darkened. "We do not need to study it. We need to kill it." "Before you can kill something," Juwoo said calmly, "you need to understand it. May I see where the attacks have happened?" The Xylaran military commander, a tall alien named Suho, stepped forward. "I will show you, but you should know that this creature has killed my best warriors. It cannot be reasoned with." Juwoo nodded politely. "I understand your pain, but I need to see the evidence before I can help." They took a flying vehicle to the military base. There, a large map showed all the places where the creature had attacked. Juwoo studied it carefully. She touched certain points on the map. "The attacks began here 50 years ago," she said, "but they have increased in the last year. And they all happen near these areas." "What are these places?" "Mining sites," Commander Suho said. "We dig for special metals there." "And when did you start these new mining operations?" "About 1 year ago." Juwoo nodded, as if this confirmed something. She pulled out a small device and began typing notes. "What are you thinking?" Minho asked her quietly. "This is not random," Juwoo said. "The creature is not attacking because it wants to kill. It is defending something." Commander Suho overheard her. "Defending. It is a monster. It kills without mercy. Has anyone tried to communicate with it?" Juwoo asked. The room went silent. Then the Xylarans made their boiling water laughing sound again. "Communicate," Ambassador Taeyun said. "It is not intelligent. It is a beast." On Earth, Juwoo explained, many animals that we once thought were just beasts turned out to be intelligent. They had languages, social structures, and feelings. We learned to talk to them instead of killing them. "Earth must be a very soft planet," Commander Suho said. "Here on Xylara, we deal with threats directly." Juwoo's face remained calm, but Minho could see the determination in her eyes. She had faced this kind of attitude before. "I would like to visit the newest mining site," she said, "and I need to see all the videos you have of this creature." "That would be dangerous," Ambassador Taeyun said. "I will take responsibility for my own safety," Juwoo replied. Later, in a secure room, Juwoo watched hours of footage showing the creature's attacks. Minho sat with her. "What do you see?" he asked. "Look at how it moves," Juwoo said, pointing to the screen. "It is careful. It destroys the machines, but it only kills people who attack it first. And see here, it is checking something before it leaves." The footage showed the creature sniffing the air and looking around before disappearing into the forest. "It is making sure there are no others nearby," Juwoo said. "This is not mindless rage. This is a planned defense." "Defense of what?" Minho asked. Juwoo's eyes lit up with excitement. "That is what we need to find out. And to do that, I need to see this creature up close." "The Xylarans will never agree to that," Minho warned. Juwoo smiled. "They don't need to agree. They just need to show me where to go." and I need you to trust me." Minho looked at her serious face and nodded. When Ju Park made up her mind, not even the most dangerous creature in the galaxy could stop her. "This is a mistake," Ambassador Taeyun said firmly. "We cannot allow you to go into the creature's territory." Ju stood before the Accelerant Council, her face calm but determined. Captain Minho and Lieutenant Haisu, a security expert from Earth, stood beside her. "I understand your concern," Ju said, "but I cannot help you if I cannot see the creature in its own environment." The head elder's scales rippled with worry. "No one who has gone looking for this monster has returned alive." "That is because they went to kill it," Ju explained. "We are going to observe. There is a difference." After hours of debate, the council finally agreed, but with one condition. Commander Suho would go with them. The tall Accelerant warrior did not look happy about this assignment. "I will keep you safe," he told the humans, "but when the monster attacks, you must follow my orders." Jumu nodded politely, but Minho could tell she had no intention of following any orders that involved violence. The next morning, they left in a small ground vehicle. They traveled beyond the Accelerant city, past the farms, and toward the distant mountains where the forest grew thick. Ju sat quietly, looking at the strange plants and animals they passed. "The creature was last seen in the Eastern Valley," Commander Suho said, "near our newest mining site." "We should avoid the mining site," Ju said. "That would be seen as a threat." "Seen as a threat." Commander Suho's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "It is an animal. It does not think." "All living things think in their own way," Ju said. "Even plants respond to danger. Just because something does not think like you do not mean it does not think at all." They drove in silence after that. The forest grew thicker, with tall purple trees that seemed to watch them pass. Strange calls echoed through the woods. "We should stop here," Ju said suddenly, "and continue on foot." "That would be more dangerous," Lieutenant Hyasu warned. "The vehicle makes too much noise," Ju explained. "It sounds like your mining machines. We need to approach quietly." They gathered their supplies and began walking. Ju led the way, stopping often to examine plants or listen to sounds. Minho stayed close to her, while Hyasu and Commander Suo followed behind, weapons ready. "Tell me about the mining," Ju said to Suo. "What are you looking for?" "Blue crystals," the commander replied. "They power our cities. We need more as our population grows." "And how deep do you dig?" "Very deep. The best crystals are far underground." Ju nodded, making notes on her small device. "And when did the attacks first begin?" 50 years ago, when we first found crystals in this region," Suo admitted. "I see," Ju said quietly to Minho. "It is as I thought. The mining disrupts the creature's home." They walked for hours. As the sun began to set, they made camp near a small stream. Ju took samples of the water and soil, studying them with her portable equipment. "There are traces here," she told Minho. "The creature has been here recently." "Should we move?" Minho asked, concerned. "No, I wanted to find us. But I wanted to see that we are different from the others." After dinner, as they sat around a small light, Ju explained her theory. "This creature is not just a predator. It is intelligent. It is protecting its territory from the mining operations. The attacks increased when the mining expanded." "But it kills our people," Suo argued. "Only when they threaten it," Ju countered. "Has anyone ever tried to approach it peacefully?" The question hung in the air. Commander Suo did not answer. That night, as the others slept, Ju stayed awake, listening to the sounds of the alien forest. Minho woke and found her staring at the 3 moons. "Are you afraid?" he asked. "No," she said. "I am excited. Tomorrow we may meet a new intelligent species. That is why I became a xenobiologist. And if you are wrong, if it attacks." Ju smiled slightly. "Then you can say I told you so in the afterlife." In the darkness beyond their camp, something large moved through the trees. It watched the strange visitors with curious eyes. These were not like the others who came with loud machines and weapons. These were different. The creature settled down to watch and wait. Morning would tell if these newcomers were friends or enemies. Morning came with a gentle mist hanging over the forest. Jiwoo was the first to wake. She sat quietly, watching small flying creatures dart among the purple trees. Their 6 wings hummed as they moved, creating a peaceful music. "We should reach the river by midday," Commander Suho said as the group ate breakfast. That is where the creature was last seen. They packed their camp and continued walking. The forest grew thicker, and the air became warmer. Strange flowers opened as they passed, releasing sweet smells. "The ecosystem here is amazing," Jiwoo said, taking samples of everything she could. "So many species working together." "Working together?" Lieutenant Haisu asked. "Yes. Look at these plants and insects. They help each other. The insects spread seeds, and the plants give them food. Nothing survives alone." Commander Suho walked ahead, his weapon ready. "The monster survives alone. It needs no one." "We do not know that," Jiwoo replied. "We know very little about it." As the sun reached its highest point, they heard the sound of running water. The trees opened to reveal a wide river with clear blue water. Smooth stones lined the banks. "We should cross here," Commander Suho said. "The creature's territory is on the other side." They stepped carefully into the shallow water. It reached only to their knees, but the current was strong. Minho helped Jiwoo, who was the smallest of the group. They were halfway across when they heard it. A low rumble like distant thunder, but the sky was clear. "Stop," Commander Suho whispered. "Do not move." On the far bank, something large moved in the shadows of the trees. Then it stepped into the sunlight. The creature was even more impressive in person than in the videos. It stood on 6 powerful legs, its body covered in black scales that shimmered with hints of blue. Its head was long, with rows of sharp teeth visible when it opened its mouth to make that rumbling sound again. But its eyes were what caught Jiwoo's attention. They were large and golden, with clear intelligence in them. "Back away slowly," Commander Suho ordered, raising his weapon. "Do not run." The creature moved closer to the edge of the river. It lowered its head, watching them. Its tail swung slowly behind it. "It's going to charge," Lieutenant Haisu said, reaching for her stun device. "No," Jiwoo said firmly. "Lower your weapons, all of you." "Are you crazy?" Commander Suho hissed. "Trust me," Jiwoo said. "Weapons will only make it see us as a threat." To everyone's shock, Jiwoo began walking forward, moving deeper into the river toward the creature. "Jiwoo, stop," Minho called. Commander Suho's scales turned almost white with fear. "No one tames that monster," he screamed. "Get back." But Jiwoo kept walking. The water now reached her waist. She moved slowly, steadily, her eyes never leaving the creature's golden gaze. The creature tilted its head, watching this small being approach. It made a low clicking sound in its throat. To the amazement of the others, Jiwoo responded with a similar clicking sound. She had been practicing, based on the noises she had heard in the videos. The creature's ears flicked forward. It seemed surprised. "What is she doing?" Lieutenant Haisu whispered to Minho. "Something no one has tried before," he answered. "Communication." Jiwoo was now just 10 steps away from the creature. It towered over her, easily 4 times her size. One swipe of its clawed limbs could kill her instantly. "Please, work," Minho whispered. The creature lowered its massive head until it was level with Jiwoo's face. Its nostrils flared as it took in her scent. Jiwoo stood perfectly still, showing no fear. Then, very slowly, she raised one hand, palm out. She did not try to touch the creature, but simply held her hand there, showing she carried no weapon. Time seemed to stop. No one breathed. Commander Suho's finger hovered over the trigger of his weapon. The creature made a soft sound, almost like a purr. Then, to the shock of everyone watching, it backed away 3 steps and bowed its head slightly. It was the first peaceful encounter between Acceleran and the feared monster in 50 years. For several long moments, no one moved. Ju stood in the river, hand still raised, while the creature watched her with its golden eyes. Behind her, Commander Suo and the others were frozen in disbelief. Impossible, Suo whispered. His weapon was still raised, but his hands were shaking. The creature made a series of clicking sounds, then turned its massive body and walked along the riverbank. After a few steps, it stopped and looked back at Ju. "I think it wants us to follow," Ju said softly. "That is a bad idea," Lieutenant Haisu said. "It could be leading us into a trap." Ju shook her head. If it wanted to hurt us, it could have done so already. She began walking toward the shore, following the creature. "Ju, wait," Minho called, hurrying to catch up with her. "We should be careful." "I am being careful," she replied. "But this is our chance to learn." The creature kept a distance of about 20 steps between itself and Ju. It moved with grace despite its large size, its 6 legs working in perfect rhythm. Occasionally it would stop and look back, as if making sure they were still following. "Why is it not attacking?" Commander Suo asked, his voice still filled with fear. "Every other time humans or Xelarans have entered its territory, it has tried to kill them. Because we are not threatening it," Ju explained. "We have no mining equipment. Our weapons are lowered. And I have shown respect." They followed the creature through the forest for nearly an hour. The trees grew larger here, with thick trunks that reached high into the sky. The ground was covered with soft moss that glowed faintly blue. Finally, the creature stopped in a small clearing. It sat back on its hind legs and watched them. "Now what?" Lieutenant Haisu asked. Ju moved forward slowly. She stopped about 10 steps from the creature and sat down on the ground. "What are you doing?" Minho asked nervously. "Showing that I am not a threat," Ju said, "and that I am willing to listen." The creature tilted its head, studying her with obvious curiosity. Then it made a series of clicks and rumbles. "I believe it is female," Ju said after watching it for several minutes. "See the crest on her head? It is smaller than the ones we saw in the videos of the males." "How can you tell the difference?" Su asked. On Earth, many species show differences between males and females. The males often have larger decorative features to attract mates. Ju took out her small recording device. "I am going to try to record her sounds. Maybe we can begin to understand her language." For the next hour, Ju sat quietly, recording the creature's sounds and occasionally making similar noises in response. The creature seemed fascinated by this exchange. "I think she understands that we are trying to communicate," Ju told the others. "She is intelligent, probably as intelligent as we are, just in a different way." Commander Suo sat down nearby, his weapon now lowered. "In 50 years, no one has ever been this close without being attacked. How did you know she would not hurt you?" "I did not know for certain," Ju admitted, "but I saw in the videos that she only attacked when threatened. I chose to trust that she could recognize my intentions were peaceful." On Earth, Minho explained to Suo, "Humans evolved alongside dangerous predators. We learned to read animal behavior and body language. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is show fear or aggression. Our people have always believed that strength is the only language wild creatures understand," Suo said quietly. "Every creature understands respect," Ju replied. "It is a universal language." As the sun began to set, the creature stood up. She made a final series of clicks, then turned and walked away into the forest. "She will be back tomorrow," Ju said with certainty. "She is curious about us now." "And what have we learned today?" Lieutenant Haisu asked. Ju smiled. "That sometimes the monsters are only monsters because we do not understand them." The next morning, the creature returned as Ju had predicted. She appeared at the edge of their camp just as the sun rose, her black scales catching the golden light. She came back, Minho said, amazed. Juwoo nodded. She trusts us now, at least a little. She packed a small bag with her equipment. I want to follow her today. I think she wants to show us something. Commander Suho had been quiet since yesterday. The peaceful encounter had challenged everything he believed about the creature. Now he stood up, his scales a thoughtful blue color. I will come with you, he said. But my weapon stays here. Juwoo smiled. Thank you, Commander. The creature waited patiently as they prepared. When they were ready, she turned and began walking through the forest. This time, she moved more slowly, looking back often to make sure they followed. She is being careful with us, Juwoo noted, matching her pace to ours. They walked for about 2 hours, going deeper into the forest than before. The trees here were older, their trunks wider than 3 humans standing together. Strange birds with long ribbon-like tails flew above them, singing in complex patterns. The creature led them to a rocky area where the ground sloped upward. Large boulders created natural walls and caves. She stopped at the entrance to one cave and made a series of clicking sounds. I think this is her home, Juwoo whispered. The creature entered the cave, disappearing into the shadows. Then she appeared again, looking at them expectantly. She wants us to follow her inside, Juwoo said. That seems dangerous, Lieutenant Hyasu warned. I think we can trust her, Juwoo replied. But stay alert. They followed the creature into the cave. Inside, it was surprisingly warm and dry. The walls glowed faintly with blue crystals that gave off enough light to see by. The crystals, Commander Suho said in wonder. They are everywhere here. The cave tunnel widened into a large open space, and there, in a nest made of soft moss and leaves, lay 3 smaller versions of the creature. They were about the size of large dogs, their scales more gray than black, their golden eyes huge in their faces. Babies, Juwoo breathed. She has babies. The mother creature made a soft, rumbling sound. The young creatures lifted their heads, looking curiously at the strange visitors. This explains everything, Juwoo said. She is protecting her young. And your mining operations are too close to her nest. Commander Suho's scales paled. The newest mining site is just beyond that ridge. It would be directly above this cave system. If you had continued digging, Minho said, you might have broken through to this cave, destroyed her home and killed her babies. The mother creature moved to her young, nuzzling them gently. Then she looked at the visitors, especially at Juwoo, and made a low, sad sound. She is afraid, Juwoo said. She has been fighting for 50 years to protect her family. 50 years? Lieutenant Hyasu asked. How long do these creatures live? Many Earth creatures live for hundreds of years, Juwoo explained. Turtles, some fish, certain birds. This species might be similar. Commander Suho moved closer to the nest, but stopped at a respectful distance. He watched as the young creatures played with each other, rolling and clicking. They are not monsters, he said quietly. They are just trying to survive, like us. One of the baby creatures, braver than the others, approached Juwoo. It sniffed at her boots, then looked up at her face. Juwoo remained still, letting the young creature inspect her. Hello, little one, she said softly. The baby made a high-pitched clicking sound that almost seemed like a greeting. I have been a warrior for 30 years, Commander Suho said. I have fought in wars against other species, but I have never seen anything like this. He turned to Juwoo. How did you know? On Earth, we learned a hard lesson, she answered. Many species were killed because we thought they were monsters. By the time we realized our mistake, it was too late. Now we try to understand before we judge. The mining operation, Minho said. It will have to be moved. Commander Suho nodded slowly. Yes, I will speak to the council myself. He looked at the family of creatures with new eyes. These beings were here first. We are the invaders, not them. The peaceful moment in the cave was broken by a distant rumbling sound. It was not thunder. It was machines. The mother creature's head snapped up, her golden eyes wide with alarm. She made a sharp clicking sound, and her babies immediately huddled together in the nest. "What is that noise?" Ju asked, already fearing the answer. Commander Suo's scales darkened with worry. "Mining equipment, but they were not supposed to begin operations for another week." "We need to stop them," Minho said urgently. They hurried out of the cave, following the sound. The mother creature rushed past them, moving faster than they could. Her body was tense, ready for battle. "She is going to attack the miners," Lieutenant Haisu said. "We have to warn them." They ran through the forest, trying to keep the creature in sight. The rumbling grew louder. When they reached the edge of the trees, they saw it. A large clearing had been cut into the forest. 5 huge drilling machines stood there, already beginning to dig into the earth. 20 Celeran workers operated the equipment. And at the edge of the clearing stood Ambassador Taeyun, watching the operation. "They are digging directly above the cave system," Ju said in horror, "right above the nest." The mother creature stood at the forest edge, her body low to the ground, ready to charge. She made a threatening rumble deep in her throat. "We have to stop this now," Minho said. Commander Suo stepped forward, waving his arms. "Ambassador, stop the machines. You must stop at once." Ambassador Taeyun turned, his 4 eyes blinking in surprise. "Commander, what are you doing here? Where are the humans?" "The creature is not a monster," Suo called out. "She is protecting her young. The cave below is her nest." But before the ambassador could respond, a new group of Xelarans emerged from the trees on the far side of the clearing. They wore military uniforms and carried heavy weapons. "The strike team," Lieutenant Haisu said. "They must have followed us." The military leader called out to Ambassador Taeyun. "Sir, we tracked the humans as ordered. The monster is here. We can end this today." "No," Ju shouted, running into the clearing. "You do not understand." The mother creature saw the weapons pointed at her. With a roar that shook the trees, she charged toward the mining equipment. The military Xelarans opened fire. Energy blasts hit the ground around the creature, but she moved too quickly to be hit directly. "Stop firing," Commander Suo ordered, but the soldiers ignored him. Jiwoo ran toward the mother creature, putting herself between the soldiers and their target. Minho and Haisu followed, their hearts pounding with fear. "Jiwoo, it is too dangerous," Minho called. But Jiwoo would not stop. She ran until she stood directly in the creature's path. The mother skidded to a halt, recognizing the small human who had treated her with respect. "We will protect your babies," Jiwoo said firmly, looking into those golden eyes. "Trust me." The mother creature made a confused sound, looking from Jiwoo to the soldiers still pointing weapons. "Lieutenant," Minho called, "use the emergency override." Lieutenant Haisu pulled out a small device with the Earth Diplomatic Corps symbol. She pressed a button, and a high-pitched sound filled the air. It was the universal diplomatic signal that required all military actions to cease immediately. "By order of Earth Diplomatic Corps, all hostile actions must stop now," she announced. The soldiers hesitated, looking to their commander for guidance. In that moment of pause, a terrible cracking sound came from below. The ground near one of the drilling machines began to sink. "The cave is collapsing," Commander Suo shouted. The mother creature let out a cry of distress and turned back toward her nest. As she ran, the ground continued to crack and fall away. From the cave entrance came high-pitched cries of fear. The baby creatures were in danger. "We have to help them," Ju said, already running after the mother. Ambassador Taeyun stood frozen, finally understanding the true situation. "Stop all machines," he ordered. "Everyone back away from the drilling site." But it might already be too late. The damage was done, and now innocent lives hung in the balance. The ground continued to crack as Jiwoo ran after the mother creature. Rocks and dirt fell into the widening holes. The mother creature reached the cave entrance first, disappearing inside to find her babies. "Ju-woo, wait," Minho called, but she was already following the creature into the unstable cave. Inside, dust filled the air. Parts of the ceiling had fallen, blocking some of the tunnels. The mother creature was digging frantically at a pile of rocks. Behind the rocks, the scared cries of her babies could be heard. Ju-woo dropped to her knees beside the mother and began moving stones. Her small hands worked quickly, finding gaps the larger creature could not. Soon Minho and Lieutenant Hyasu joined her, and even Commander Suo arrived to help. The whole system could collapse. Hyasu warned, "We need to be fast." After several tense minutes, they cleared enough rocks to make a small opening. Two of the baby creatures squeezed through, running to their mother. But the third one did not move. "The last one is hurt," Ju said, peering through the opening. She crawled through the small space before anyone could stop her. On the other side, she found the smallest of the three babies lying under a fallen rock. Its leg was trapped, and a cut on its side was bleeding. The baby made weak clicking sounds of pain. "I can help you," Ju said softly. She carefully moved the rock off the baby's leg. Then she opened her medical kit. "Ju, we need to leave now," Minho called through the opening. "The Tsillarans say the whole area is becoming unstable. I cannot leave this little one," Ju replied. She cleaned the cut on the baby creature's side and applied a healing gel. Then she checked the leg. It was not broken, just bruised. "Can you stand?" she asked the baby, making gentle clicking sounds like its mother. The baby creature tried to rise but fell back with a cry of pain. "I will have to carry you," Ju decided. She gently lifted the baby, which was heavy but manageable. Its scales were surprisingly soft and warm. Carefully, she pushed the baby through the opening to Minho. "Take this one out first," she said. "I will follow." Minho took the baby creature, surprised by how light it felt despite its size. The mother creature watched nervously, but did not interfere. She seemed to understand they were helping. Outside the cave, Ambassador Taeyun and the other Tsillarans watched in amazement as Minho emerged carrying the injured baby creature. The mother and the other two babies followed, with Ju, Haisu, and Commander Suo coming last. "Put the baby down here," Ju instructed Minho, pointing to a flat area away from the collapsing ground. She knelt beside the young creature and continued treating its wounds. The mother creature hovered nearby, watching Ju's every move with those intelligent golden eyes. The military Tsillarans still had their weapons ready, but they did not aim them at the creatures anymore. "The leg is not broken," Ju explained to the mother, using both words and gestures. "The cut will heal quickly with this medicine." She bandaged the baby's side with a clear material that sealed to the scales. The baby made a soft clicking sound and nuzzled Juwoo's hand. The mother creature moved closer, sniffing the bandage. She made a low rumbling sound that seemed almost like thanks. Ambassador Taeyun approached slowly, his scales a pale color that showed his amazement. "In all our history," he said, "no one has ever been this close to these creatures without being attacked, and no one has ever helped one. They were never monsters." Commander Suo said, "We just did not understand them. We need to find them a new home," Ju said, stroking the baby's head. "This cave is no longer safe." The mother creature looked at Ju, then at her babies, then back at Ju. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered her massive head until it touched the ground in front of the small human woman. It was a clear gesture of trust and respect. "I think," Minho said quietly, "that this is the beginning of something new between your people and these creatures." The Tzillaran soldiers, seeing this peaceful exchange, finally lowered their weapons completely. One by one, they approached to see the baby creatures, who watched them with curious golden eyes. "Today," Ambassador Taeyun said, "we stopped being enemies." 3 months had passed since the day of the cave. The morning sun shone brightly over a new building on the edge of the forest. It was a research center, built half underground with large open spaces and skylights that let in natural light. The sign outside read, Celeran Human Joint Species Research Center. Inside, Juwu moved through a large room where the mother creature and her 3 babies now lived comfortably. The babies had grown noticeably in the past months. They were now the size of small horses, and they ran around playfully, their scales shining in the sunlight. "Good morning," Juwu said to the mother creature. She had named her Nera, a word that meant country in an old earth language. It seemed fitting for a creature who had fought so hard for her territory. Nera made a friendly rumbling sound in greeting. She lowered her head so Juwu could check the small device attached to her crest. It was a translator that the human team had developed. It could not yet turn the creature's clicks and rumbles into human words, but it helped the researchers understand her basic meanings. "How is your family today?" Juwu asked. The device lit up with a blue light, indicating contentment. Nara was happy. Minho entered the room, carrying a tablet with new data. "The Council has officially declared the entire valley a protected zone," he told Juwu. "No mining or development will be allowed there. Ever." "That is wonderful news," Juwu said, smiling. "Nara and her kind will be safe." Commander Suo arrived next, accompanied by Ambassador Taeyun. Both Silarans now wore simple clothes instead of their official uniforms. Their scales showed peaceful colors of blue and green. "The first group of students has arrived," Suo announced. 20 young Silarans who want to learn about Earth's approach to wildlife. In the 3 months since the incident, Commander Suho had become the leading advocate for protecting Nara species. The Silarans had named them guardians now, not monsters. "And I have more news," Ambassador Taeyun added. "The Council has voted to join the Earth Alliance. Your people's wisdom about living with other species has convinced us that we have much to learn from humans." One of the baby creatures, the one Juwu had rescued from the cave, ran up to them. His injured leg had healed perfectly. He made a series of quick clicks that the translator interpreted as excitement. "Yes, Coco," Juwu said, patting his head. "These are friends." Coco had become especially attached to Juwu. He followed her everywhere and had learned to understand many human words. "I never thought I would see this day," Suo said, watching as Coco playfully nudged Ambassador Taeyun. "A Silaran politician being friendly with a guardian. Change is possible when we choose understanding over fear," Juwu said. Later that day, a ceremony was held outside the research center. Silarans from the city and humans from the Earth Diplomatic Court gathered to celebrate the new protected zone and the alliance between their peoples. Captain Minho gave a speech about the importance of seeking knowledge before taking action. Juwu spoke about the intelligence and gentle nature of the guardians when they were treated with respect. But the most powerful moment came when Suo stood before his people and spoke from his heart. "For 50 years we called them monsters because we did not understand them," he said. "We tried to solve our problem with weapons and force. We failed. Then these humans showed us another way. They showed us that sometimes the bravest action is not to fight, but to listen." As he finished speaking, Nara and her 3 young ones walked calmly into the crowd. The Silarans who had once feared them now watched in wonder as the creatures moved gently among them. "Humanity's greatest strength," Minho said quietly to Juwu, "has never been our technology or our weapons. It has been our ability to understand other beings." Juwu nodded, watching as Coco played with some Silaran children who had overcome their fear. "We learned this lesson the hard way on Earth. I am glad we could share it here." In the years that followed, many other species across the galaxy would learn about the humans who tamed the untamable monster on Xilora. Not with force or weapons, but with something much more powerful: respect and understanding. The end.